Hi guys, so this is someone who's well known in Ireland, both north and south, but probably not familiar to people in Great Britain. His name is John Finucane. He's currently the MP for Belfast North, and he's the son of Pat Finucane, who was a civil rights lawyer. As he was murdered by the UDA-UFF loyalist paramilitaries back in 1989. Not only was his family present when he was shot, but an investigation by British police found collusion took place between these loyalist paramilitaries and the RUC, which was the Police Service of Northern Ireland. I believe this is his first time on BBC Question Time, and I think he educated the public on the DUP's real position on the Northern Ireland Protocol.
I don't agree with the premise that the protocol is an identity issue. I think it's a trading issue. It's worth repeating the fact that the protocol was as a result of a very painfully long set of negotiations since the Brexit referendum, which I'll remind people, if they need reminding, people here didn't vote for. But when those who championed for Brexit, like the DUP did, and for those who rejected every manifestation of Brexit the way the DUP did, I think it's a bit rich to then complain about the outworkings of a political movement that you backed from the very outset. The protocol is not something that was imposed by the European Union upon the United Kingdom. It was an agreement that was negotiated. It was an agreement that was then entered into by the two partners. It was legislated for. In fact, Boris Johnson won an election solely on getting Brexit done. And in fact, if we cast our minds back to 2020, we were told that customs checks in the REC wouldn't alter the constitutional basis of this jurisdiction one bit. That's not my words. They're the words of Jeffrey Donaldson. We were also told that this had enormous economic potential. Again, the words of DUP representatives at that time. And that is the truth. This allows a small jurisdiction unique access to two markets. When I'm in Westminster, I talk to Scottish colleagues who say quite literally they would give their right arm for the economic position that we find ourselves in. Now, are there problems with such a fundamental trading shift? Of course there are. Is there ability to solve those? You better believe it. And contained within the protocol are the mechanisms to identify problems and then find and implement solutions. But you will only do that if you have two people willing to negotiate with each other in a credible fashion. And frankly, the British government have been found wanting in that regard.
A wonderful speech, and I agree with him 100%. When he started off by saying that this was about trade, and he was completely correct here. And he quoted Jeffrey Donaldson. Jeffrey Donaldson, back in 2020, said this was best of both worlds in a sense. Northern Ireland has access to the UK market and it has access to the EU market. When now they're talking about constitutional issues, and the Northern Ireland Protocol does not affect people moving from Great Britain to Northern Ireland or from Northern Ireland to Great Britain. It's about goods. It's about trade. It's always been about trade. It's about protecting the single market, making sure that there isn't a hard border on the island of Ireland in order to check trade, to check goods moving in and out. So the British government itself has said that the constitutional position of Northern Ireland has not changed. Even Jacob Rees-Mogg said that in the House of Commons. Now, I don't believe Jacob Rees-Mogg most of the time, but he was not challenged on that. Nobody from the DUP stood up and said, no, Jacob Rees-Mogg, you're wrong. Or no, Boris Johnson, you're wrong. So it's a trading issue, not a constitutional issue. And what the DUP have been trying to do over the last number of months is to try and turn it into a constitutional issue, to egg on loyalist paramilitaries who have taken actions such as burning buses or hijacking vehicles and sending very nervous drivers, frightened drivers, down towards positions where there are Irish politicians, for example. Is a perfect explanation of what's happening. This is about trade. It's not about the constitutional position of Northern Ireland. The protocol is not affecting that whatsoever. Nobody can actually present any evidence that it's affecting the constitutional position of Northern Ireland. Now, does it mean that Brexit is helping a united Ireland come about? Yes, But we told Brexiteers before the vote in 2016, this is going to negatively impact the Union. And we've seen how the people of Northern Ireland, a majority of people in Northern Ireland voted to remain, and a majority of people in Scotland voted to remain as well. And these are two areas that are seeing a resurgence in either independence in Scotland or a push for a united Ireland in Northern Ireland. There's no other way around it. We told Brexiteers back in 2016 it would be bad for the Union if you voted for Brexit. The Northern Ireland issue, Scotland, eventually maybe even Wales, but this is going to damage the Union. And the response, of course, was that scaremongering, that's Project Fear. But in particular, when it came to Northern Ireland was ignored from the beginning until just recently. And now we've seen that Liz Truss is willing to copy and paste ideas that the EU have come up with in order to sell them off as her own inventions to fix the Northern Ireland Protocol. Are there issues? Of course there are, and John Finucane talked about this here. There are issues for trade, but not constitutional issues. They're not issues affecting ordinary people moving from Great Britain to Northern Ireland or vice versa. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.